Hello and welcome back to Medill Sports Talk. You're tuning in to On the Block. I am Louis Ricard.
And I'm Toran. The NFL draft is in less than 2 months, Louis, and scouts from every NFL team joined in Indy this past week to take a look at some of the future talent in the league. So who stood out for you this past weekend?
I think it was on the defensive side of the ball that the breaking news really came for. We have linemen running 4.6, 4.4s
Nuts.
even.
Yeah.
I've never seen that in my entire life. So I think we'll start right away with Montez Sweat from Mississippi State, who ran a 4.41. And let me tell you something. He's 6'6", 260 pounds.
Crazy. If he was running with the receivers, he would have been an 8th ranked receiver, running a 4.4. Bro.
How do you escape that?
I don't understand how backs and quarterbacks are figuring out how they're going to get away from that. And I think in some latest mock drafts, he moved up to about, I think he could bump into the top 5, man. And a speed rusher off the edge, dog. I think it's something that is pretty dangerous, man.
You have
pretty
to look at
dangerous.
It, yeah. Absolutely. U of M also had a good showing out with Rashawn Gary.
Come on, man.
Played really well throughout the entire season. A couple injuries that kind of left him on the sideline, especially against Northwestern. But his ability of just getting inside and pressuring the quarterback, but also getting outside and stopping the runs, really helped him. Get his draft stock pretty high up.
And we know his production in college wasn't as crazy as they probably could have been. Mm-hmm. He's playing in a system here where basically it was a more of a 3-4 system. So he's a 3-4 end. So it was a lot of heavy run defense going on there. And because of that, it really didn't get to display his pass rushing ability and his his workout at the combine should show you that he has the ability to work off the edge and really get out the guys on the next level. So you could see him have he's going to have a top 10 grade easy as well. But let's go to the inside linebackers who also tore it up, man. You have Devin Bush and Devin White, who is going to be the number 1 linebacker probably taken.
Absolutely.
Those guys running 4.4s as well. So sideline to sideline, man, who's running against them, man?
I mean, we saw it with the Cowboys. They played real well because they had really fast-paced linebackers who were able to cover the entirety of the field. But now we have even younger guys who can run as fast, even faster, and have the ability of getting out to the edge and pressuring the quarterback or the running back and covering the passes as well. I don't think we've ever seen a draft like this in my entire life. I don't think we've seen a combine like this in my entire life because of the athleticism that was displayed throughout the week. What do you think?
You saw how the young linebackers for the Cowboys worked out this past season.
Yeah.
With them drafting Van Der Esch and then putting in Jalen Smith, who finally got to his top of his potential because the injury wasn't messing with him. And you saw how fast those guys worked sideline to sideline, making tackles, attacking aggressively downhill. And so you're going to get those same things in White and Bush. If guys go ahead and take them. I know Bush gets knocked because he's 5'11", whatever. He's running sideline, tracking things down, Louis. So
let's go to the offensive side of the ball here. Let's talk wide receivers. Let's go DK Metcalf for a quick second. Can we just talk about his measurements it's not real, right?
If DK Metcalf smacked your mother, would you go back after him?
Nope. Keep going.
But what about Vernon Davis' combine?
Yeah.
People so crazy about Metcalf's, but Vernon Davis was 6'3", 255, running a 4.38, jumping like 42 inches with like a 4.17 shuttle.
Absolutely.
So Metcalf is nuts, but it's not even the greatest of all time.
27 reps at the bench, 4.33 in the in his 40-yard dash. I don't think I've ever seen that before. How about quarterbacks? Can we talk about Dwayne Haskins, who had a really good combine?
Tight throws, making all the throws in timing. You saw him able to complete the deep out. It was easy for him. He looked beautiful. But I was also high on Locke. I think Drew Locke went out.
Yeah,
he ran a 4.7, showing his athleticism. He likes to play outside the pocket. Says he models his game after Aaron Rodgers. And I think you saw all of that in the combine this past.
Absolutely. And you have to go Tyree Jackson too, who's 6'7", 249 pounds. Ran incredibly well, 4.59 for a quarterback. He's really mobile and he's really good with the deep throws, which is something that you can translate to the NFL really quickly. Yep. I don't know if he's a top 10 pick. I know that he will be in the first round if teams are looking to draft a quarterback for the future. But that's all we have for the NFL. Coming up next on the block, how LeBron might not make the conference finals for the first time in 9 years, and what's going on in Boston, Dre. We'll be right back on the block.
At Northwestern, we're Wildcats in every way.
time. We will cheer you all the go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
Welcome back to On the Block. Let's talk some NBA, Dre, shall we?
Yeah, one thing is for sure, that if the Lakers don't pick any things up right now, they will not be making the cut. And I'm going to go ahead and say they will not make the cut. The Lakers are 3-7 in their last 10 games, and it's just not looking good, Louis. Will LeBron miss the playoffs for the first time since 2005, Louis?
I don't see how he can make the playoffs. They're 5.5 games, behind the 8th seed. They're not playing a team basketball at all. They're not doing anything that you're supposed to do. My question for you is, who are you blaming here? Because we have Luke Walton, who's supposed to be fired at the end of the season. We have Magic Johnson, who's not doing a good job as a general manager. And we have LeBron James, who's playing kind of that playoff mode, activation, and letting the ball kind of go along with him and then shooting something for no reason. Like, what's happening?
Playoff mode deactivated. I'm going to go 40-40-20. That's 100, right? Yeah. 40-40-20. Magic fault, LeBron's fault, Walton's fault. People first of all, let's just start with the construction of this team in the offseason. Yeah. LeBron James cannot be the best shooter on your team, point blank period. And he plays a style that needs shooters around him. They acquired Rondo, playmaker. They acquired Lance Stevenson, funky playmaker. Beasley, who's no longer there.
He's in China.
McGee. McGee has played better.
He's not a Klay Thompson.
It's not what he needs, yeah. So people also like to hop on the fact that, when LeBron went down with the groin, this team really struggled. With LeBron, they're 21-24. LeBron's numbers are going to be there, but it's the little things we talked about, Louis, that he's not doing, correct?
They have nearly the same record from last season to this season. And they added arguably one of the greatest players of all time. So this is not what you signed up if you're a Lakers fan. This is not what you signed up if you're Magic Johnson. My problem is that Magic Johnson really went at it the wrong way. He said that he would trade anyone for Anthony Davis, and he tried to do it. Then his bluff didn't take. The locker room now is completely toxic for any players in there. We have Ingram, who's trying to show his skill set and show that he can do it, averaging over 20 points a game in that stretch that they've had, but they're still losing. Kuzma is injured now, and he was trying hard, but the rest of the team is not following. There needs to be something happening. I think we need to look at Magic Johnson's responsibility here. LeBron James, on the other hand, you can do only so much if you're him, but he's not even doing that right now. He's not showing his intensity. He's not showing his skill and instinct. He's not taking the shots he should, and he's not playing like the greats, like the greats we've seen before.
And the issue that's going on as far as Walton is kind of the people he's putting on the floor.
Yeah.
The matchups, the rotations, they're not really that great. And you're just really hoping that that they just go ahead and try to salvage this season. Or do you think they can tank? Because they're really not that far off from getting into that top 10 and possibly having a shot at a top 10 pick. So what would you do?
It's a possibility, but I would still try to showcase. You have LeBron. You can't be tanking with LeBron James on your team. I don't care who you are. I don't care what team you are. You have to try and win this. The West, we've seen crazier things happen. The teams are all kind of fragile right now within the 7th, 8th seed, so it's always possible. We'll have to see what's happening in the future, but I think they have a legitimate shot at doing something at least. Now let's look at the East. The Celtics are also struggling in the East right now. We don't know what's happening, currently sitting at 5th in the conference. So what's going on with Kyrie Irving and company, Dre?
I'm confused, and last night should show you why I'm confused. They go on the Oracle and beat Golden State 128 to 95, excuse me. After just kind of playing wishy-washy back and forth over the last 10 games, you go in here and you dominate a team. The rotations look good. Hayward came off the bench and scored 30.
And he was averaging 5 points a game before that.
Yeah, he'd be playing 27 minutes, averaging 4 or 5 points a game. So I don't understand the formula. So you would like to think that this team could get it together for playoff time and possibly show what they showed last night. But I don't really know who's to blame here. Do you blame Ainge? Do you blame Stevens? Do you blame Kyrie? Do you blame the young guns that haven't been able to mesh?
It's a tough situation because we talked about Brad Stevens as being one of the youngest, greatest coaches we've seen in a while. Yeah. I mean, Popovich is the ultimate standard, but he is getting, to that point eventually. Now, we have to look at Kyrie Irving's comments, in the locker room, outside the locker room, with the media. He's not been in that cheerful mood that we're sometimes accustomed to, even though it's Kyrie. He doesn't like the media as much anymore. He doesn't like Boston as much anymore. But he did say that the long talk that they had throughout that long plane ride going to Golden State helped the team a lot. Whether or not, it's kind of bluffing for the other teams to see, I don't know. But I know this. They played really well. They played like the Celtics we expected at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
And we know that this team can turn it on because they have the pieces for it. Young talents have taken a lot of time to develop right now, and they need to be better. But this team could make a run in the playoffs if they play like this.
It's time now because they want to secure home floor.
They do.
Because if 76ers do not catch Indiana and they're playing the 76ers without home court advantage in the first round, they could lose. But we do know how they play against the 76ers. They usually dominate them.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But I think they're only a couple games behind that 4 seed. If they can go on a run now, build on this momentum that they built from last night, this team can be dangerous and move into the playoffs as one of the most dangerous teams going in. I think they have a lot of depth, which will help them. Yeah.
Al Horford is a consistent center right now. They have young pieces coming off the bench. Tatum is looking for a shot right now. He's going to get there eventually. I know that he could potentially activate that playoff mode we talked about.
But is Stevens going to make sure the rotations are right and tight? Because you saw Hayward didn't start last night. They played better. Brown comes off, he gets in a roll, gets in the flow. So these guys really have to make sure they're meshing and that Stevens is doing a good job of maintaining and kind of safeguarding and creating chemistry so they can play their match.
And I'd also like to talk about the Boston's ultimate, secret weapon, Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart is one of the most intense players in the NBA. His defense is relentless, and he's trying to, emphasize that to the young players of Boston. If Marcus Smart can inspire this young team along with veterans to play more defensively and have a better defensive mindset, we might see them lock it down and move up to the 4th, 3rd seed and then make a run in the playoffs. The home floor really matters for them because they will need to get that crowd going and get themselves going in order to win and go far.
It's a puzzle piece, but when the pieces get together, there'll be a beautiful picture left. So it's time. It's time, Boston.
We'll have to see.
But I think that's all the time we have for today, folks. Thanks for tuning in on The Block, where the block is always hot.
Yeah. Coming up next is Point Taken with Alex Campbell with our very own Andre Toran, Gregory Mello, and Neil Madovin. Please stay tuned. Stick around for Medill Sports Talk.